off. And the best thing about that is that when we roll into 2013, people will stop asking me about the goddamn Mayan conspiracy and how the world will come to an end on the 21st of December, very inconveniently only 2 shopping days before Christmas. Now, second thing I'd like to talk about is the stuff that's happening in the Arctic. And over the last 20 years, we've had, since 1980, that's 32 years, we've had the volume of the Arctic ice drop down by 75%. And they're saying now that the Arctic ice will vanish in summertime, not 2100, not 2200, but somewhere between 2120 and 2150. We might be close to the tipping point, which brings us to the whole point of this global warming thing. I did my first story about this back on Double J in 1981, and we said there's a thing called global warming. It might be happening, it might not be, we don't know. 1985, I wrote a story about it in my first book. Global warming might be happening, might not be, not enough data, don't know. 1988, John Hanson came out and we knew for sure that global warming was real, we caused it, it was going to be bad. And for a few short years, the media went along with it. Now, does anybody remember possibly the finest movie ever made by the human race, Naked Gun 33 1/3? Am I the only one? Yes. Okay, in that movie, done around 1990, Naked Gun 33 1/3, and in the movie by Richard Gere, American Gigolo, and in a whole bunch of other movies, in the background, as a subplot, a politician would stand up and say, we've got this global warming thing, we have to get rid of fossil fuels. And then it all changed. In the same way that big tobacco was able to throw doubt and confusion about whether tobacco really was dangerous for you, big energy did the same thing about global warming. And we've wasted the last 24 years from 1988 till now dithering around about it, which is why I welcome this whole zero carbon thing. The zero carbon thing basically says, in a short summary, that out of the 6 possible renewables, 6, in Australia we only need to use 2 to give us all of our electricity. And they're coming? Okay, but just get them to slow down, this is a good bit here. We're getting up to, you're going to love the punchline on this one. And so these renewables are solar thermal, and I do not mean the photovoltaic cells on your roof, I mean solar thermal, where you turn sunlight into heat and you can store it for a day or 2, and that would give us 60% of our electricity in Australia, and wind would give us 40% of our electricity in Australia, and it would give us base load at 1/3 of the price of burning coal, according to the zero carbon people. What we are talking about here is building infrastructure for the future. We're not talking about a quick return in the next quarter or 2 quarters, we're talking over 10, 20 years. So that's why I'm wearing this Shinkansen shirt. This Shinkansen, they were first running in 1964, and they've got trains that'll run up to 300 kilometres per hour, we've got none of that. And the reason I'm wearing this Sydney Harbour hat is to remind me to take it off and tell you about the Sydney Harbour Bridge. None of us today built the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It was not built by our parents. They're coming closer. I'll have to tell you the rest of Sydney Harbour Bridge in just a minute. It's a great story. And here come the Markers!